Bam, we're live. We're back. Better than ever. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. This is the Vice City FC podcast, part of Lemon City Live. I am your boy, Edwin La Tanga Garcia, bro. They called me La Tanga because no tapaba nada when I was the goalie, bro. You know, that's what it was. That's probably like a super old joke, but that was the name, so I got to own it for this week. Anyway, I'm your boy, Larry Fresh, joined, as always, by the three-headed monster that is the Vice City FC podcast, producer Fungus, right there, representing Orlando, the north part of the Turnpike, and Orlando City. We're gonna boo him tonight because no, I'm just kidding. He's our boy. We love him. And Xavi Guerrero, our Inter Miami legend over here. Everybody knows who he is. Everybody knows what's up. Yet. Yeah, bro. You're on that legendary status, man. I gotta hand it to you, bro. Your trajectory is like surpassed us. We just hope you don't forget us here. But again, this is the Vice City FC podcast. This is season 2, episode 7. We're gonna talk about Matchday 5. Inter Miami doing really well. We can't say the same about our team up north. You know, in Orlando, we talked about it last week. If certain somebody's gonna be on the hot seat, we'll talk about that.
It happened,
and then we'll wrap up.
It happened. Yeah. Worst case scenario.
And then we'll talk about Xavi's top 10 power rankings for the season. So if you're watching, if you're hanging out, feel free to comment on the stream. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on our Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're listening to the podcast later, or if you're watching right now, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, give us a little follow. If it's your first time, hang out with us. Thank you for making some time and chilling with us. So, gentlemen, we're here. It's been, first of all, how was your weekends? Everybody good? I know Xavi had Dad Day on Sunday. That was a good time. Gus, you're good. Everybody good? Solid. All right. This week, I couldn't brag about my Miami FC team winning because they lost. But so that's all. We'll talk about that since you guys, this isn't about them. We're going to talk about what you guys are here for. Let's get to it, man. Inter Miami goes up. A messy-less Inter Miami, or sans Messi. I don't know how you want to put it. Inter Miami squad goes up to the nation's capital to take on DC United. It was a top 10 matchup here for our power rankings.
A good DC United team.
A very good DC United team. This was a top 10 power rankings matchup here. They go up there. They fall behind early, to the tune of 1-0, and then they come back and score 3 unanswered goals, take the 3-1 win. Xavi, give me your initial reaction here from the game. What did you see? What did you like? What stood out? And then we'll get going from there.
The cherry blossoms were beautiful, and both goals by Suarez. And we got Campapi to get on the scoreboard again. It's a great victory. Why? Because Messi's not there. Everybody believes that if Messi's not on the pitch, the team is going to be terrible, have direction. Well, now we know that that's not going to be the case, but it's because the team has gotten stronger, right? When you have a Luis Suarez on your team, and then you get a young stud like Redondo coming in, and then you have another young stud like Diego Gomez, right? You have these two guys with nothing less than Sergio Busquets in between them. So there's a team, there's a deep team, there's a strong team. There's a younger team than people think, because the first thing, Inter Miami, the retirement team, the what is that? Century Village and all that. What was all the jokes when I asked?
Century Village. I like
remember
that one, yeah.
when I asked like to give a name for the Fantastic Four? Some people are grumpy old men or blah, blah. You know what? No. There's a lot of young players. The back line. Look at the back line to start that match. Noah Allen, 19, right? Then you have Tomas Arias. I think he just turned 21. And then you have Fred, which is old, 30. And then you had who was on David Ruiz, who just turned 20. Yeah. So the back line is super young, and they did a good job. It's a big victory. It's an important victory because it's against a good team at their house, away. Yeah. And that team was pumped. Like every team is always pumped to play Miami, to beat them, especially at their home, right? With Field Stadium, smacks. And Miami went and handled the job, and they look good. And it was several players. I mean, 3 players made the team of the match day, right? 3 players. Yeah. Luis Suarez, we have Redondo, and Campana. And it could have been more. It could have been Diego Gomez, to me, was one of the best players on the pitch and in that game. Like he always.
Let me stop you right there because I got to tell you that I've come around. No, I've come around to Gomez. I've come around. when he first arrived here last season after Messi, I felt like he was just very
anxious.
I felt
very nervous.
I described him as a guy who played in my Sunday soccer league. Like he was like he would have been the best guy at Sunday soccer league.
That's a terrible take on your part.
But I'm just saying, you could tell that he had the skill, but he was just not polished. Like I felt like he was very erratic, very overly aggressive at times, and I'm like
a 19-year-old. He looked like a 19-year-old.
Like a 19-year-old. Yeah, you're right. Like a 19-year-old. But he's come around and he's having a fantastic start to the season. So I got to give him props. He's made me a believer. And Redondo, like, bro, not Redondo, okay? It's Redondo, okay? Let's call it as it is, bro. I don't like this Redondo stuff. The dude he's a baller, bro. He's come in there and he's doing what is very rare, which is he's coming in, you're plugging him into a very important position, playing alongside his idol, and he's just delivering results. The kid can play. So that's what I just wanted to give right off the bat. Fantastic job. So how about Gus, let me ask you, who leads the MLS in goals? Who's tied for first in goals right now?
It's not Suarez?
In goal
it is Suarez. How about
total goal contributions? He's a top.
He's got 4 goals already on the season. Number 1, tied with I think Giamakis or something like that for number 1. And guess who's leading the league? Tied also for league lead in assists.
I'm guessing Suarez.
Double points, bro. Double points, just like his double goals, bro.
The guy with 2 bad knees. The guy that everybody said is, why are you signing him?
Yeah, man. Well, I think people said, "Why are you signing?" with reason. I mean, let's not act like we're gonna be like
they went overboard because the guy just was coming off the Brazilian league, being the MVP of the league, scoring 26 goals, and I don't know how many. Like,
I get it, but again, like anything, bro, everything, eventually all good runs come to an end, and one day he's not going to be good, and it's fair to think that after so many years that he, might have a falling off here, but he hasn't. And remember, let's go back a year ago when we had Joseph Martinez, and he came in, and we were banking on a lot of success for him to come in and deliver, and he never got it going,
But he ended up
the majority
having
of his goals were.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think he had that many. I don't think he had that many. I got to look it up.
But he was around there.
But most of them are PKs. Let's be real. He had a lot of PK goals.
Suarez
has had none.
Still got to make them.
He still got to make them. Suarez hasn't had. Suarez is putting the ball in the net from all angles. That chip shot, that third goal yesterday or Saturday was just filth. Filth. Absolute filth, man. That's the kind of stuff that makes the league look bad, like, man, how's this Century Village resident coming over here and making all our young guys look this bad? But hey, I'll take it. It's on our squad.
Same thing you say about Messi, bro. Messi's done it everywhere. He's done it at the top levels. The Suarez is doing. Yeah. He's done the same thing. He's done that to everybody he's played against.
And Messi's doing it with a bad handspring.
Yeah. Which we mentioned at the beginning. No Messi this week. How do you feel, Xavi? How would you rate from 1 to 10 here? How the team performed without Messi?
Well, we're not going to pretend that we don't miss the greatest.
No. Of course we miss him, of course. But just how did they handle it?
They controlled the game. They dominated the game. They controlled the midfield. They had control of the action for the most part. Not at the beginning, but because at the beginning. DC started very strong. DC took it to them. DC pressed them like it hurts Miami.
Yeah.
And they had a beautiful goal. I mean, Strude scored a banger. It was great. At that moment, we're like, maybe something's up. But their poise, the leadership, and the youthful exuberance, like they came back and they're like, okay, boom, 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 boom. So I rate it from 1 to 10. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 because I don't want. There's still room to grow. I think there's still room to go. I don't like to just go and get so happy right off the bat.
Wow. Okay.
7.5 is almost an 8. Yeah, it's good.
I feel like that's kind of stingy there. I mean, I would have probably given them
stingy.
Considering that's fair. Fair enough. You're gonna be stingy. I would have given them a little higher, probably in the 8s. 8.5 somewhere around there. Because again, you knew there was no Messi. You got the big target on your back. You need your guys to step up. I feel like everybody stepped up on the squad. There was no. They fell behind early with the 1-0, but then Campapi comes through with a nice little left-footed kick. Finally, we talked about it last week, taking advantage of these situations. Papi has to be on point. Papi has to play on point every opportunity
he has
that
to
he
be Big
gets.
Papi. He needs to be Big Papi.
He has
now.
to be Big Papi. He has to Big Papi, not Con Papi, Big Papi. So he did well. I liked what he did. He took advantage of the minutes that he got, and he made he made an impression. He scored the goal, celebrated, had the moment.
He had
Good for
energy
him.
during the match. He had energy during the
Yeah.
match. He was moving around. He's running. He's moving around a lot better than he has in you could tell he's healthy. Remember, because the last few seasons, he comes into the season with that little calf injury, and he's not the.
Yep.
You can tell he's starting healthy, and hopefully he stays that way. Just to mention something really quick, when we're talking about guys that stepped up big, we cannot overlook David Ruiz. He played back.
It's a baller.
He played great. You plug him anywhere, and he shows his quality. But he went to right back and held it. He held that spot until they bring whoever they're going to bring. He might just keep playing there.
That's the thing. If I'm running a team here and I look at these guys that are 19, 20 years old, dude, you're not you don't have an established position to me. In my eyes, you don't. Remember Gareth Bale? Remember him when he was with the Spurs? You know what position he played? Right back. Also, okay, before he became superstar forward, that winger out there for Real Madrid and everything, he was a right back. Okay, when you're young and you have energy, you have stamina, you have these things, you got to be able to plug and play till you find the position as you progress in your career that you own that position. So when I see guys like David Ruiz, as good as they're playing, and as I'm happy as I am to see it, I also kind of expect that from those really good young guys. You know what I mean? Because those are the guys that are going to step up, and that to me shows me that he's ready for the next level. Noah Allen has played center back, has played left back, he's played right back. He's been interchanged a few times. And Ruiz, we've seen him in the midfield. Again, we got two big studs there. Ruiz is definitely separating himself a little bit from those other guys. But what I wanted to mention was in the game. So it was 1-1 early second half, and we were facing an onslaught from DC. They came out strong to start the second half, and this is where I was really the most impressed with Inter Miami. This is where that switch hit, where they turn it on. DC did a cross. It looked like it kind of went off of was it Aviles' hand?
It did.
It did, but it was a natural possession.
Yeah,
not by exactly. Very questionable. Yeah. It was questionable in that. But there's where you saw. This is why I was saying. This is where I give the 8.5. This is where I was giving the 8.5 because the Inter Miami saw that DC was like, hey, complaining, and took advantage. Man, the counterattack right from there led to that goal from Suarez, and it was just beautiful, just bam, and that's it. The pressure was off. They came in, they added the third goal at the end, and it was just like DC wasn't able to rebound from that. They got punched in the mouth there, and Inter Miami showed some incredible poise. To me, that's why I give them that little extra. That's to me 8.5.
100%. In Redondo, that second goal, Redondo, let's call him the round mound. Redondo. that guy, bro. he was about how did that play start? He was about to lose the ball. He was on the floor, won it back while he was on the floor, took off towards the area, slipped, like he kind of almost lost it. The defender was coming, and he did a slide tackle and won it again, and that's where the ball stayed for Big Papi to come in, and boom. So it was an effort, a big effort play by Redondo. And then in the third goal, you have that, you have the young, it's all the young guys, Gomez, Redondo, Campapi. There's a lot of future. There's a strong future, a good foundation for Inter Miami. They're not Century Village. They're not, people are making a mistake with this team.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a pause right there. So we've established Inter Miami, solid win. We graded them 3-1 win against DC. Before we get into Concacaf and how they did there, let's shift over. Let's get on the turnpike. Let's go north a little bit here. Let's talk to Gus here, and let's see Orlando. We talked about it last week. Oscar Pareja, the coach, Pareja. I mean, look at me. I'm such a white guy. Pareja.
¿Qué te pasa?
I know, bro. It's been whitewashed over here. Anyway, listen. Orlando. If his seat was hot last week, it's on fire. Like his whole house, he's the meme right now. He's like, this is fine. He's just standing there doing the Achilles meme. It's bad news for Orlando. They go another MLS game without scoring a goal. Their goal differential this season is -8. They've only scored 2, giving up 10 in all their MLS games this season. Now they have some success in CONCACAF because they played the Canadian team, Cavalry, right? Calvary FC?
Calvary. Mm-hmm.
Calvary. So they had you saw glimpses of what the offense can do, but what is going on in Orlando right now, Gus? Because this is bad. They lose 2-0 again this week at Atlanta. They needed to get that win. We'll find out if Atlanta makes Xavi's top 10 this week or not. They have 2 wins now, but we'll see. Xavi's he's giving us a little sign there. But Gus, what happened? What's going on in Orlando? What's your big takeaway of how bad they're playing?
Look, it really comes down to one thing, and it's that they're not scoring the opportunities that they're creating, because they are creating opportunities, right? I don't know if you guys saw highlights of the Orlando City match, but in the first 5 minutes, Muriel, he sent a freaking bomb and a big sperm. He barely got a fingertip on it and went right over the goalpost. So I feel like they're knocking on the door, but they're knocking on the wrong house. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like they just
so the aim is off.
Yeah, pretty much. But I feel like Muriel, once he gets into form, I feel like he's slowly finding his rhythm. I wish that he would find it a little faster, and I'm sure his teammates and Orlando City fans
lose some weight.
They also, I guess he needs to lose some weight. That you mentioned it, that you thought he looked a little overweight, and it could be that. But I feel like once he finds his form and he starts making goals, it's going to give confidence to the rest of his teammates as well, right? Duncan McGuire has been playing hard, but he's on and off, man. He's either playing really well or he's absent. You know, he played really well.
Scoring in the first 13 seconds or not scoring at all. Okay. But wait, let me stop you right there, Gus, because I want to circle back to Muriel here real quick, because you said Muriel's creating chances, but he's knocking on the wrong houses. He's doing all this stuff. But that's Muriel. And I get it. That's your striker. But what about the rest of the team here? I mean, is Ladero? I know McGuire. I'm not going to compare him because they're playing a similar position. But are those guys creating chances enough that it's just him not converting those chances, or is he doing everything and they're not doing enough? Like, is there a disparity there? What do you see?
As a team, they are creating chances, right? Lodeiro also had a shot at goal. He kicked it right at the keeper. So, they just need to, and they're still finding each other, you know. Lodeiro, Muriel, and Angulo and Torres, and Duncan for that matter. Those three and Lodeiro and Muriel, they never played it with each other before. It's gonna take more than a few preseason games, which Muriel wasn't even a part of, and a few games at the beginning of the season for them to really click, you know. So yeah, I feel like Pareja's seat is hot because he didn't take advantage of the beginning of the season. He did the load management was
because he hasn't won a game. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, like load and the reason for that is because he tried to do load management, which you shouldn't do. You always start your best players, man. And if you need to rest some guy after the first half, you know, and bring in a sub, cool. But always start your best players.
He got ahead of himself,
in my opinion.
I think
so. I think he overthought it.
Exactly what you're saying is the opposite of Tata Martino. Because remember here, they were asking, hey, you're going to manage the guys. You know, it's after 2 games. You're going to give them rest. And he goes, guys, it's only been 2 games.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, right?
Yeah.
It's only been 2 games. They're fine. They're good. And then what happened? They go and whoop Orlando City. And that's where I asked him. I was like, hey, you know, does that justify your take where you played all your starters? Like, yeah, but it's not about that. It's just that I know, you know, the everyday of the players. So I don't know if Pareja believes what's up with Torres, you know, Facundo Torres. He's got to be
he's dealing with an injury right now, but
that's what I was going to ask you, because I mean, maybe there's more to it than we know, because this is a very strong team and they're not playing that way. And the time is passing, and we keep saying that they have it, but at some point there's lost seasons, right? So
of course,
we're game 5 from now to game 10. Something has to happen. They better win at least 3 games.
Look, like I mentioned in the last time we were talking about Orlando City, when they lost 3-2 against Minnesota, they had 22 shots that game. 22 shots. That's insane. How do you not win that game? You know what I mean? And now against Atlanta, they had 11. 11 shots is still a lot of shots.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if that shot by Muriel goes in at the beginning of the game in the 5 minutes, it's a completely different game. You know, Atlanta, yeah, they're a good organization. I don't think they're a great team. They've only really beaten teams that are at the bottom of the barrel. So
Okay.
I feel like Orlando could have won that game, and they should have won Minnesota against Minnesota. We could be having a completely different conversation. Maybe not completely different, but we could be having a different conversation because they still
No, it'd be a
they still
completely
fell out.
different conversation.
Well,
We're
they
literally
still
talking
fell
about
out
a
of.
coach about to get fired. We're talking about a
I
coach
don't
who
think
potentially
no
could
no
get
no.
fired for not winning.
I don't think he's close to getting fired yet. I don't think
he's still got some room, right? He's
He's
earned
still-
enough
yeah.
credit. He's earned enough credit with them.
He's on a shorter leash, yes, but the leash was very long to begin with because every single season that he's been at Orlando, they've improved. And they've
Okay.
won a US Open Cup title. They had the best season they've ever had last year. You got to give the guy a long leash to start the season. Yeah, he screwed it up for himself, and now he's on a tighter leash, but it was long to begin with.
His credit limit has shrunk
Okay.
a little bit, but he still has
Yeah.
credit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to bring down that credit limit a little bit. But I mean, looking back at like Phil Neville last year, you know, hot start, and then all of a sudden, as soon as he started losing a couple of games, they were, you know, off with his head. You know,
But what
They
what
were
had he
just, like,
done?
falling
What
apart.
had he done before that? He hadn't done anything before.
He didn't
that.
have the equity. Yeah, his leash was short
You
to
know?
begin with.
Well,
He didn't have the.
he didn't have the players either. And then last season, everybody was injured. Out of like his starters, like 9 people were injured out long periods of time. He had a rough stretch here. I don't think he was terrible, but this year with Portland, we're gonna see what kind of coach he is because he's got talent. He's got talent over there.
Now, Coach Pareja said that he was focusing on Champions Cup, that was his, you know, his main focus to start the season, and like we saw their first round matchup or their first leg matchup in the round of 16 against Tigres was a 0-0 draw at home. They went to El Volcán or whatever they call the stadium over there in Mexico to play against Tigres.
Yeah.
And well,
Monterrey.
now we know that. And now we know that you know, the focus is MLS because they've been eliminated from Champions Cup. It was a pretty bad loss.
They were eliminated, and
game
it was the 4th time that they played Tigres in a row in that competition, because last year they were eliminated by Tigres in the round of 16. Both matches were draws, but they conceded a
the
goal
one-away goal
at home, and that's why they were eliminated. This time around, they had the advantage going into the second leg at Monterrey against Tigres because they didn't concede a goal at home, but you know, they just ended up losing outright. So they didn't draw for the 4th time in a row, and they couldn't get the win. So they ended up being eliminated by Tigres.
Yeah, man. And it wasn't, honestly, that game wasn't even close. Like, I was watching that one, and it just felt like Tigres was the better, more aggressive team. They were applying the pressure.
If you watch that game, if you watch how Orlando plays, you can tell that they're still not clicking with each other because somebody receives a ball and they're looking. You got to look around to see where your guys are. So their movement of the ball is really slow. You know, they're not clicking with each other yet. They don't have that anticipation of knowing, oh, when this type of play is forming, Angulo's making a run. You know, that kind of anticipation.
Well,
they don't have that with each other yet.
Of the team and
exactly,
they need that chemistry,
and that's why load management. And that's why load management was a bad idea to begin with, because they don't build that continuity. Even if you wanted to focus on Concacaf Champions Cup, you should have still kept that built that continuity so that when you get to that second leg, you can win and move on. You know,
or at least make a better showing.
Exactly.
I will say exactly.
Bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. I mean, he's planning for something he doesn't even have yet.
Now, I will say this. I want to highlight somebody that it hurts me to highlight because I like him. I'm a fan, but we gotta talk about Gallesi here, man. The goalie, the Peruvian national team goalie, El Pulpo.
Yeah.
Yo, you've given up 10 goals. Is that more? Let me ask you that you've watched every minute of Orlando City games so far this season. Is that number more representative of him not playing to the level you expect from him, or of the defense and bad defense leading to, you know, easy goals for the opposition?
I would say it's half and half, because he has let some, you know, like some goals go in that he should have stopped.
Okay.
Like the one that he gave up trying to dribble the player, and he gave up that they stole the ball from him and they had an easy goal. That was his bad. There's another one where he was just too high up. He was out. I think he was almost outside the 18. They just chipped the ball right over his head.
Yeah,
when they stole the
so
ball.
that's why I bring it up, because he's had a couple of bad looks. So is he falling
but
off a little bit here, because this is a guy with a good pedigree?
I wouldn't say he's falling off. Yesterday's game, the 2 goals that were scored against him, I wouldn't put any of those on him. The first goal,
okay,
the guy had a shot from closer than the penalty spot. It was at an angle, but he did what he was supposed to. He covered the post close to the angle, but the guy was able to
post on him.
He went far post. He was able to make it, which that's the more difficult shot, but he was able to make it. And yeah, man. So that's really, I wouldn't put any of those goals on him. But next up, they're hosting Austin this weekend, and Austin is another team that's at the bottom. Yeah, they're another team that's at the bottom of their standings in the Western Conference. So I think it's the perfect opportunity for them to start righting the ship.
Yeah, winless Austin, 0-3-1 right now. They've given up only 3 goals and scored. Wait, no, sorry, I read that wrong. What's their goal differential here? Oh, their goal differential is -1. Yeah, they only have 3 points. Sorry, because they have those the 3 draws. Yeah, but anyway, we'll see. Austin is a winnable game here. I'll say it again. I said it last week. We were going to have a different conversation, but there's no Concacaf Champions Cup here. All the focus is on MLS. You get a week to prepare for this game. Obviously they need to win. They need to win here. Yeah. But how badly does coach need to win to get some of this, to extend the leash a little bit longer? Because right now it's getting shorter, the seat's getting hotter, and it's a lot of unwanted attention in the wrong places here. How badly do they need to win here? What's worst case scenario here if they lose? How do you see that affecting them? Is it going to get shorter? Are we going to get closer to the axe? Does he lose?
No, every loss without winning, the leash is going to get shorter. You know what I mean? But what I like is that in this past game, you saw, for the most part, if it wasn't for Torres dealing with that injury, he did end up coming into the game eventually, but he didn't start the game. But if it wasn't for that, I think we would have seen the team that he's ultimately going to go with. You know what I mean? And he's now that they're out of the competition, we're gonna see that a lot more. Right. So I expect to see him. Go ahead.
No, you say you expect to see him what?
Yeah, I expect to see a more consistent starting lineup moving forward, and them start to build that continuity.
All right. Well, speaking of competitions, like you were talking about, let's go back to CONCACAF Champions Cup here, because we do have a team that's in it. Xavi, Inter Miami, took care of business. They're actually winning, making moves here. They defeated Nashville. What was the final score in the Nashville game? 3-1 to advance. That was another easy game. I'm not gonna say easy, but they made it look easy. It was a comfortable game. Suarez again. I think he had a brace in that one too.
They outwear them.
The what?
They wear them down. They wear the team. They wear the teams down because of the quality that they have, and they're deep. They make a substitution, and you're bringing in another really solid player that other teams might not have that same caliber player. They're just wearing teams down, and then you have Messi, right? He played 51 minutes, but in the time that he played, he showed out, right? He gave Suarez did have the brace. Messi had the other goal. And you got those 2 legends playing and playing well. So Miami's a tough team.
Let me say that again. Messi, Lionel Messi, and Luis Suarez both scored in the same game for Inter Miami. That's crazy. Just that sentence. Miami. Just think about how crazy that sentence was a year ago.
10 years ago. Yeah, 1 year ago even. But like 10 years ago.
Crazy.
You're crazy. That's impossible. That's never going to happen. You don't even have a team in Miami.
Nope. It's insane. I love it. And hey, shout out to whoever's watching right now. If you're live on the stream, man, drop us a little comment here. I see Steve Munoz did say something. I like the nickname Freddie Round. I like that. Freddie Round. I like that.
Freddie, no, but he put
Fetty Round. Sorry. I like that one. That's a solid entry right there. Let us know where you're watching from. I want to know if any Orlando City fans are joining us tonight too, man. I'd like to hear how bad you think your team is right now, because it's hard times in Orlando. Yeah, Yeah, down here, you guys suck. What's up? But it's all good, though. We want you guys to be well. I prefer a good rivalry. You know what I mean? It's like a Heat
Of
Knicks.
course.
You love it when both teams are good, and it's always better when everybody's competitive.
And
But anyway,
yesterday's game against Atlanta was a rivalry because even just a few years ago, at
yeah, that was the first.
Miami and Charlotte were not in the league. So that I think Atlanta's
Yeah, that was your first
rivalry now is Charlotte.
Atlanta.
Before it was Orlando,
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Hey, so we talked about the MLS game, but let me not forget somebody here who this weekend made their 83rd career appearance for Inter Miami. Okay, making him number one all time in career appearances, most games played for Inter Miami. I know it doesn't seem like much. 83 is a lot, and for a team that's this young, these are the kind of guys that those lifelong Inter Miami fans are going to remember. The same way those Marlin fans from 1993 inaugural season, they remember Mr. Marlin, they remember Jeff Conine, you remember these guys that you grow attached to. Robert Taylor, man, Robert Taylor appreciation moment here. Okay, the man has just done everything. I compared him to Pedro from the Barcelona big days over there, where he was just that unsung guy. He wasn't getting all the MSN
all the time, yeah.
But he would score, he would do everything. And if there's anybody that has benefited more from this Miami team from Messi arriving here, there's nobody who's benefited more than Robert Taylor, because what he's done has just been incredible. He's got this incredible energy. I heard that he's not going to go play for Finland because he knows of the disadvantage that would leave his team playing with right now. So he's going to actually stay back with the team and help Inter Miami out.
He actually put out a
total
statement.
Team player. Yeah, total team player here, bro. So give it out to Mr. Heron, our Mr. Marlin, our OG, Inter Miami guy here, Robert Taylor. Gotta love it. Guy's great. He's fantastic. He's really put out, and he's really, really he's got to be the most popular Inter Miami player, not from Barcelona, right? I think he's the most loved and most liked non-Barcelona player, right? So,
maybe Calendar.
Yeah, but Calendar, I always look back at Calendar, and I don't know if you remember this, Chavi.
Calendar's a little more mainstream now.
Yeah, he's mainstream. He's USA goalie. He's kind of cool. He's like, he's like, I dye my hair, blonde, and I love it. It's all good, bro. It's great. But Chavi, if you remember, I believe you and I were at Drake Calendar's first ever start. Wasn't that his first start? Was the first time that you against Miami FC? I like looking back at that, and we were talking to him after the game, and he was just regular backup goalie, and now he's men's national team. Look at that!
What a come up, wearing Jenkos.
What a come up for that
prodigy.
Big time. He did big in 1 year. But this is the Robert Taylor's moment. This is Mr. Heron, like you're calling him, right? He's an underground cult hero, a fan favorite. People love him because what was he? He was David Rees before David Rees. He was plug and played every single position. He probably could play goalie. He probably could play goalie too if they asked him to, right?
Absolutely.
I'd
expect nothing less.
A very humble guy, and it's cool because when he speaks, in the press conference or whenever you ask him a question, it's very calm, low demeanor. But when he gets on the pitch, he has like a little swag, a little Finnish swag, whatever that is over there.
Yeah, bro, a little Sasha Barkov in him, bro.
He has something, and then when he sees Messi and the boys, he plays like if he's South American. He's like, vamos, dame la bola.
Yeah, bro. He's got the tattoos. I'd love to hear the conversation between him and like Messi when they speak. Like I know, I think we talked about it last week. Julian Gressel came out in an interview recently and talked about how Messi spoke English to him, and it was fantastic.
Oh, great.
He's like, my English pretty good, huh?
Pretty good.
He covers his mouth. Very good.
Very good looking.
Very good. I love it. So give me more of that. Props to Robert Taylor. Continue to kick ass and building your legendary status here.
If I had two more boys, I'd name one Robert and the other one Taylor.
I like it, bro. I'll give you that. Let's go back to Inter Miami here for a second. I want to wrap up Champions Cup here before we get into your top 10 here, because you got a lot of explaining to do here. But first off, Champions Cup, our next matchup is April 2nd, right? We take on Monterrey. Monterrey, good squad, good team, Mexican. They play in that stadium that you wanted to see, Gus. That's going to be quite the event there. And they got a former MLS guy who's tearing it up for them right now, Brandon Vasquez, up at the number 9 position, who's just been, he eliminated his old team in FC Cincinnati in the Champions Cup now, scored a goal against them and everything. And now he's taking his sights and his talents over here to take on Inter Miami. How do you feel about this matchup? How do you think we match up well? Do you think we match up well against Monterrey, or do you think we maybe have some holes that we need to fill in?
Talking to me or to Gus?
Okay. No. Well, you're the Inter Miami guy, Gus. I don't care what he says right now. No offense, Gus.
Okay. No. Definitely, it's going to be probably one of the toughest challenges all season. Unless they keep going to the club. Monterrey is a powerful team in Mexico. They pay big bucks. They got big players. They got Vasquez. Vasquez is playing out of his mind, scoring left and right. But we knew that. We knew that he was a good, young, talented, up-and-coming player, even in MLS, especially when in Miami, like he loved to kill Miami. He scored a hat trick once, I think it was 2 seasons ago. Like he feasted on Miami.
The kid's a baller, man. Kid's a baller. When he's had his opportunities on U.S. men's national team, he should have been on the team. Just to give you a little heads up here, Monterrey right now is first place in Liga MX in Clausura. They're undefeated right now. 8 wins, 4 draws, and no losses right now. They have a plus 15 goal differential, and they lead the Clausura in Liga MX.
It's the strongest. You're getting the strongest team from Mexico, and this is a dream matchup, right? You're getting the strongest team from Mexico proven, and theoretically the strongest team MLS. So all that, who's better, what's better, this is probably going to be the best matchup that we're going to have to maybe answer that, and we're going to get it in 2 games. It's not just going to be 1 game where anybody in 2 games. So we're going to see whoever moves on is the better team. So if Monterrey has a very real chance to eliminate Inter Miami at this point in the tournament. Inter Miami is a deep, strong team, the deepest, strongest team in MLS. Columbus are the champs, still undefeated. That's why they're number 1. But Inter Miami at the roster, they're very deep, strong team, but they're very young. So that's going to weigh on this matchup. We're going to see what happens. I can't wait for this game, for these 2 games, because it's going to be Mexican League versus the American League and the MLS, and we're going to actually see the 2 best representatives. We couldn't have picked them handpicked them any better. That's what we got. We got the best.
You know what I really like about it is that we're getting to see it in Mexico, which is what we didn't get with Leagues Cup. No offense to Leagues Cup, and I'm not trying to water down the accomplishments that Inter Miami made, but we didn't get to go to Mexico. We didn't travel. It was all played in the United States.
Over there.
Yeah, this is like our little Champions League right now, like legit. It's like the name suggests, Champions Cup, So we're really trying to establish who's the best of the best here. Now we are in the quarterfinals, so Inter Miami is playing, like we said, Monterrey. In the other quarterfinal matchups, we still have 3. We have 3 MLS teams left out of the 8 teams that are left, right? 3 MLS. Then we have what? 1, 2. 3,
I think it was 4 Mexican and 1 Costa Rica.
And 1 Costa Rican team. Yeah, they're playing. What's the name of the Costa Rican team? I can't. It's not showing up here. Hold on. I lost it. Anyway, they're playing against Pachuca in one of the first quarterfinal. Then America versus New England Revolution, which New England Revolution, good for them, but I'm not really too confident with them. And America, Club America is second in the Clausura right now in Liga MX. Just a few points. They're just 1 loss behind Monterrey.
Herediano is the Costa Rican team.
Herediano. Okay.
Oh, that's all you, bro. That's your. Yeah. Those people are closer to you than me. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that one. Monterrey, Inter Miami, and then Columbus, the Crew, the defending MLS champion, taking on Tigres, who defeated Orlando. So we got Club America, we got Tigres, and we got Monterrey. We got 3 of the bigger squads in Liga MX here. Pachuca's another good squad too. So let me see, Pachuca right now, they're 5th, and Tigres is the one who's not having a good Liga MX season, but they're rolling through these cup games right now. Tigres right now, I believe they're 6th. Oh, I take it back. They're 6th. So all 4 of the teams left are in the top 6. So it's going to be tough. But we're going to have, like Xavi said, a true champion It's gonna be nice to see. We're gonna have some incredible games, some incredible sights to see. I'm curious to see because you look, man. Monterrey is a hostile environment. They have great fans over there, but I'm curious to see how many Inter Miami fans we're gonna have there because the Messi factor is gonna. I want to see how dominant the Messi factor is. You know, how many pink jerseys are we gonna see sprinkled in all around there, or are they gonna put like some type of block there? I'm curious to see that because that's gonna be. And then if they play here, the winner of this match will take on the winner of the Columbus Tigres match. So that's this side of the bracket. You could have Inter Miami going through Monterrey, Columbus, right? The MLS champion, and then having to take on Club America in the final, which would be unbelievable. Oof. That's the dream matchup right there that everybody wants.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll see how that develops, but it's going to be fun. Inter Miami's first game, like we said, is April 2nd, I believe here. No, April 3rd. My apologies. April 3rd at 8 p.m. They're hosting the first match. So very, very important to get off on the right foot. No, don't give up any goals. I don't have that in front of me. I believe so, but yeah. So that's what we got going. Inter Miami, best of times here. Everybody who's an Inter Miami fan, enjoy it. You got Champions Cup, you got Messi, you got Los Fantastics, like Xavi likes to say. Orlando.
Messi, Los Fantastics.
Orlando, Gus says, take it easy. The leash is still long. There's just getting a little shorter, but have patience that things will turn around there. We'll see. We'll see how this discussion and how this narrative is going to change here over the next week here. But let's get to it. My favorite part, where I get to drill Xavi on his really weird top 10 list here. Here we go. So
the only more famous top 10 is the David Letterman's old top 10 list.
Yeah. So this list, which I make, but it's Xavi makes all the picks. So this is, if you have a problem, any discretion, any questions, concerns.
You're trying to distance yourself from me is what you're doing.
No, yeah, a little bit.
100%.
This is 100%.
When at the end of the season, everybody, all the pundits and MLS people say, oh my God, this guy from Lemon City had the best list all year long. You're distancing yourself from
Yeah, you take it. You're taking the cake for this one. You're now, just to keep in mind, the criteria for making this list here, I believe, takes into account prior position, win-loss that week, and performance. A tie is not always a bad thing, but it can be a bad thing at times, you know, when you should have won, like we've established here. But let's start from the bottom up. DC United, who you had last week, I believe, at 6. After some wiggle room, you put them down at 10. Now, DC United.
You can't put the other list there next to it. DC United,
no.
It's a tough team. I mean, I think they're better than people. I was actually reading today in MLS. I don't remember which one of the guys was saying, okay, I'm finally going to admit that DC United is better than I thought. It's a good team. Yeah, they're a good team. I think 10 is a good spot for them. They still have room to grow. And let me tell you something. Chris McVay played the whole game, started for DC United. And he was one of the guys that I thought that could fill the center back role for Miami. Never got a chance here with Tata. For him to bring in a guy that just got injured again. So it's a little weird. I hope at some point I have an opportunity to ask him about that, but it has to be at the right moment. You know, it can't be just
Hey, don't piss off the boss.
No, not piss him off, but a moment when that can be asked, because it's just something that's in my mind. It's like, you had this guy here and why?
I just think it's interesting. You got a team at 10 who's 9th in the East. Not even in MLS. They're 9th in the East. You got him at 10. But hey, this is your list here.
All tough teams are in the East.
So number 9, Toronto. You got Toronto here, 2-1-1. They did suffer their first defeat this weekend, but you got them at 9. Okay, I like Toronto. I like that pick there.
This is a list that's dynamic. It can change, but we're also we're basing it on all the time. We're basing it on the past, but we're projecting for the future.
Exactly.
And it's completely illogical. Don't make sense of it. It's completely illogical.
All right. Perfect. It's an amoeba. We don't know how it works, but we know that it works. All right.
It's alive.
Montreal, you got them at number 8. Montreal. Also, you had Montreal real high last week after giving Inter Miami their first their first L of the season.
They're surprising team.
Montreal. Who did they play? They lost 4-3 to Chicago. Chicago's a good team. That was a crazy, Yeah, but there was a crazy wind. Don't forget, there was that crazy goal at the end of the game because the ball carried it. So you're penalizing them.
How many people had Montreal in the top 10 2 weeks ago? Nobody. So we're good so far. Don't worry about that.
All right. So Montreal sits in 4th in the East, but you got them at 8 here. Now, number 7, the Galaxy. Galaxy currently number 4 in the West. You got them at number 7 on your list here. Okay. Same record as DC United, 1-3, and they don't have a loss yet. They're still undefeated, but they only have 1 win and 3 draws here. So okay, we'll still, they played Miami pretty well. You're giving them a lot of weight for that game. Okay. Now, this is where I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit here. Okay?
A new team out of nowhere, right? Just blew up into the rankings.
Yeah. Well, you got a team that's currently number 1 in the West, undefeated in the league, 3 wins, 1 draw, a +4 goal differential. You got them sitting at 6, but they're number 1 in the West. So you got 5 teams ahead of them, including 2 teams from the West above them, which is fascinating to me. This is why this list is so good.
Totally illogical. We're projecting. We're projecting. That's where they are right now, but we'll see.
I mean, so Minnesota, I like your defense. I like your defense. It's a very weak defense, but it's a defense nonetheless. Minnesota United,
out of nowhere, right? You got to prove it.
I like Minnesota though. Their number 10, Reynoso, is a really good player. He just got his first minutes this week in their win this week.
He always does that. Like, to start the season, it's always an issue with that guy.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do the preseason stuff. He doesn't want to participate. He just wants to come in and play. But you know what? He's backed it up every time. Let's see if he backs it up again this season.
Well.
Yeah. So obviously doing something there. Now, Portland, which you had high on your list last week, I realized we curse the team that we put in the graphic. We had Portland. We had your boy Phil Neville in the graphic last week.
You own that. You're the Drake curse.
Yeah, I own that. I'm applying that curse. That's why I picked Lucho Acosta this week. I definitely, that was very intentional, because we had Inter Miami 2 weeks ago, and then they lost. We had Orlando City to start it, and they're out. They're the worst team in MLS. So
you're worse than the Sports Illustrated curse, and the EA Sports or what
the
is
Madden
it?
Curse. Yeah, the Madden curse.
You're worse than the Madden curse, dude.
Right now, we got a good trajectory, good ratio here. So that's why I got Cincinnati there. But let's go back. You got Portland at 5. They lost. They're currently sitting 3rd in the West, but you're really high on Portland. You really like what they're doing. You're still giving them.
They're tough. I think Neville's a little bit better coach than people think he is. We'll see. But they also have a possibility of bringing in another DP. So I think it's going to be an even stronger team.
Okay. Now, Vancouver, you got at 4. Interesting. Vancouver's 2nd in the West. Seems like that's a good spot for them. Vancouver currently, they've only played 3 games. They haven't played their full 4 yet. I think they had to cancel the game, right, because of the weather. And then they're 2-1. So
flying under the radar.
Under the radar here.
So the Whitecaps right here in Lemon City. They're on our radar here in Lemon City.
They're on our radar all the way out here, 3,000, 4,000 miles away. You know what I mean? But we're picking them up. I do think they have one of the nicest uniforms in all of MLS. That blue one that they wore, it's fantastic. Their away one is gorgeous too.
The uniforms, we have to do a uniform show too, because this year the uniforms are a lot nicer.
Yeah, the uniforms this season, MLS, chef's kiss. Number 3. Our cover athlete over here, FC Cincinnati. Nice uniforms too, nice kids. Doomed to lose this week. They're
so you're projecting forward. Why'd you put them so high?
No, they're doomed to lose because he's the curse. He put him on. I didn't know he was going to put Lucho on the cover.
That's true. Fair enough. That was all me there. I didn't tell him. So FC Cincinnati coming off a 2-1 win against the Revs. But they did lose 2-1 and 1-0 to Monterrey in Champions Cup. So they played them very well. 1-0 the first game. That was the Brandon Vasquez goal. And then the 2-1 in the second game. Makes me feel pretty good about our chances there as Inter Miami. Now,
absolutely.
Now, top 2 remains unchanged here. It's Inter Miami at number 2. And you're still giving a lot of credit to the defending champions, Columbus Crew.
The defending champs. They haven't lost. They're playing well. What are you going to just move them down just because?
Nope. You got them right now. Columbus is 3-1, or 3 wins, 1 draw, no losses. Sitting currently with 10 points. Inter Miami has 3 wins, 1 draw, but they do have a loss. In one extra game that they've played, they have one less game. They have a plus. With the 3 goals that we scored in our 1 extra game, we have a 3-goal advantage in the goal differential over Columbus. But hey, it's shaping out to be a great season right now. Let's see if the curse is real. Let's see if NYCFC can pull it off and defeat Cincinnati this week. Then I'll know I'm onto something. Then I'll start using my powers for good.
Oh, but you had Cucho one time, right? You had Cucho on one of the top lists. That was probably the day that the game that they tied. So they probably would have won.
Yeah, I think so. Probably. You know what? I think so. Let's see, man. We might.
Edwin should not have all this power.
That's why I defer to him. He makes the list. I just pick the curse.
He's like the greatest American hero. He has the power, but he doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah, man.
You remember that show, The Greatest American Hero? You ever heard of that? I'm showing my age.
Dude, yeah, bro. That's why I was staying quiet, because you're dating yourself here, bro. Because if I know it, then it's really bad, and if you know it, it's even worse. So, anyway, any last points, questions, comments, concerns? Big shout out, thank you to everybody who stuck with us here so far through the show here. If you're still listening, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to like, make sure to share, leave a little review. Tell us how much you like my voice or you don't like it, or how much you think Gus is good looking, or how much Xavi, is lying about his top 10 list and has no clue what he's doing. Whatever the case is, give us a little feedback, leave a little review.
Best top 10 in the nation right now, honestly.
Exactly. So give us a little feedback. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a little follow, subscribe, make sure you catch up to us. Any last comments, concerns, complaints, anything else, guys, before we wrap up here?
I hope Messi, that little hamstring is just a little hamstring injury, but people are concerned that it's carried over from last season, and I don't know. I just hope there's no surgery or nothing. With this rest, he comes back and he can finish the season.
Well, the last time Inter Miami played at New York at Red Bull Arena, they had that beautiful goal. Remember the Kermashi, the crazy pass from Messi, the no look diagonal back to Messi, the tap in, that whole little highlight that they played all of last season. Fantastic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully they'll show the game on Times Square. I think that's very cool when they do that as well. Real quickly here before we let you go, Gus, give me a score prediction for Orlando against Austin.
Orlando 2-0.
Oh, shutout. All right, I like it. 2-0 Orlando winning, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Xavi, real quick here before we go. Final score prediction versus Red Bull.
They always play Miami tough. 2-1.
2-1. Miami wins. Will we see Messi?
No.
No Messi? You don't think Messi's playing?
No, not
okay.
not
all right.
for.
Well, there you have it.
Not for this game.
Well, there you have it. No Messi. But we have a win for Miami and a win for Orlando. Orlando this way, Messi that way. All right. So thank you guys for having a great show. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Big shout out to everybody. We love you, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of the Vice City FC podcast. Have a great rest of the week, guys.